This is unlike any apple pie you've ever had before. This is apple streusel. It's made with salty caramel bourbon, custard, and homegrown apples. This crust comes out perfect every single time. Let's go make it. Now, I'm among the orchard at Pops' farm. Now, this is my father-in-law's orchard. He's got Honeycrisp apples and Cortland apples growing here, and we're gonna use both of those in this apple pie. Let's go get some. Oh, that's a good one. Look at that baby, beautiful. That one just came right off. You're going to need 3 Honeycrisp apples and 3 Cortland apples. Let's go over the ingredients for the pie dough. You're gonna want 2 1/4 sticks of frozen butter, unsalted preferably. You're gonna want 14 ounces of all-purpose flour, 2 1/4 ounces of white sugar, and a 3/4 teaspoon of salt. 2 eggs and a little bowl of cold water set aside. Now let's make this perfect pie dough. You're gonna cut up that frozen butter into tiny little cubes. Then you're gonna combine that with the flour, the sugar, and salt in a bowl. If you have a stand mixer like this KitchenAid, use that because that will make it so much easier for you. If you're not, just do your best to combine it all by hand. You really want those chunks of butter to end up smaller than a pea. Once the whole mixture is a little mealy in texture, you're gonna add 1 egg at a time, and you're gonna mix in between every time you add an egg. You'll see the dough will start to become hydrated and shaggy. When both eggs are incorporated, add a tablespoon of water at a time until the dough begins to stick together. You'll notice it'll look just like this. You're gonna throw a bunch of flour onto your countertop, roll the dough ball out onto the countertop, and you're just gonna press it into a 1-inch circle. Wrap it in plastic and then throw this in the refrigerator for the next 30 minutes while we make everything else. Now I'm cooking my apple streusel on the Halo Prime 1500 gargantuan of a pellet smoker with apple pellets and hickory pellets to add a little bit of flavor and root. The combination of the smoke and the cast iron pan is going to give this apple pie a flavor like you've never had before. Let's go ahead and make the streusel topping while our dough is resting. You're gonna need 1 stick of butter. You're gonna need 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I prefer the dark brown sugar. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Get out your food processor for this, it will make it so much easier. You're just going to dice up that 1 stick of butter, add in your 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of white sugar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and teaspoon of salt into your food processor, and you're just gonna hit it on manual until it starts to look sandy, like coarse sand. Put that in a bowl and put it in the fridge until we're ready for it. Now, the deliciousness, the filling. You're gonna want your apples, 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, 1 egg, 1 cup heavy whipping cream, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a small bottle of Old Smoky salty caramel whiskey. Or if you want more of a bourbon flavor, choose your favorite bourbon. Slice up all of your apples. Now I like to slice my apples into a 1/2-inch thick slices or a little bit less than that. Now let's take all of our sugar, flour, cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, and mix them together. And then in a separate bowl, I'm gonna put my egg, heavy whipping cream, vanilla extract, and my bourbon or whiskey and whisk that all up to combine. And then I'm gonna add my dry mixture to the wet and then whisk it all up. And when you smell the aroma that comes out of this custard, you're gonna instantly wanna eat it. Don't save it for your pie. Go ahead and throw our filling mixture into the fridge to cool while we get our dough into our pan. Now I'm using a 14-inch cast iron skillet. Go ahead and roll out your dough onto your floured surface and use a rolling pin, and you wanna roll it out into as big of a circle as you can, leaving it about a 1/4 inch thick. I also learned this from my father-in-law. Once your dough is a 1/4 inch thick, fold it into quarters and then lift it right up off the countertop and then place it into your cast iron pan and unfold it around and then just press it down into the pan and around. Now you're just gonna cut off the excess, fold the excess down, and then crimp it down with a fork or a spoon or your fingers. Add in all of our apples and be sure to spread them around evenly. Go ahead and add your whiskey custard and add your streusel topping on top of that, and let's throw it on the smoker. Now you can absolutely use your oven at 375 degrees, and what we wanna do is cook this until it's about 165, 170 degrees internal. So if you have a meat thermometer, feel free to throw that in there or just measure it. After about an hour, you should be very close to there. If you're using your oven, you might want to use a little bit of tin foil around your pie crust so that your pie crust doesn't burn up too much. I've noticed when I did this in the oven that my pie crust did burn up a little bit more than when I do it in the smoker. Now I know you're going to want to eat this as soon as it comes out. Don't. Trust me, don't. I've done it. Don't do it. Let it cool for a good 1.5 to 2 hours, and when you go to slice it open, it's going to slice perfectly. The structure will hold together beautifully, and it will scoop right out. Top it with some vanilla bean ice cream or the ice cream of your choice, and enjoy.